Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ryan Palmer. I am the Inexorable WordNerd. We're doing a live this evening. It's my very first live in the Inexorable WordNerd series. We're going to be having some celebrities on and some of my comic book friends, my professional comic book friends, and we're going to be talking about all this cool stuff. We've got a special guest this evening. He's in now. His name is Jesse Snyder. Live. There we go. Okay, I got that. Jesse Snyder's in the waiting room now, and we're gonna go ahead and get him in. I can't see. Let's see. Okay, we got him added to stream. Hey, Jesse, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We got the audio going. All right.
Can you hear me? Perfection.
Yes, I can.
2 seconds for me. I'm just shrinking some stuff for my background.
Nope. No problem, man. Go right ahead. We're gonna have fun today.
My buddies powwowing and making some cool stuff today. See, we're working on
show us
music video for some of my old material, and I got 4 records coming out. I'm stoked.
Hey, all right. Well, you should be. I went on the SoundCloud link that you gave me, and the music was incredible. I wrote down a list here. In fact, I liked it so much. I'm going to put it in my rotation for my comic writing. I do comic. Yeah, absolutely. No, it was beautiful. I genuinely like the music. I have a rotation for songs that I use when I'm writing comics, things that inspire me to write heroism and action and all these things, and they're amazing. I'm going to play a song for the crowd tonight. It's pretty light in the chat today, and so I apologize for that. But this is my first episode, and I'm trying to build my channel. We will have the playback. So,
and for me, it just gives me a chance to talk about some of this stuff and be able to share for my people who want to hear. But I mean, it's wonderful to hear that you have taken it as a piece of inspiration for comics, because that's the whole genesis of Blacklight District. For me, I love craftsmen, and my whole existence has been just worshiping at the altar of the greats.
Who's your favorite?
Jim Henson is my guy.
Oh,
but when
beautiful.
It comes to comic books, I'm a big Eric Larson fan.
You are?
My love of comics comes very directly from his great love of comic books.
Do you like the old stuff that he did over at Marvel, or do you enjoy more of the stuff that he's doing over at Image?
I got into him with the Savage Dragon. When I was I think my dad got me a Spider-Man subscription when I was 10, and I looked at lots of different, during the 90s, it was just covers and cards and so much stuff.
It was crazy.
So I loved that, and I loved the art. I was an artist for a long time before I switched gears into writing, and then because what I realized is what I read was comics, I was like, well, I guess I should probably write comic books. Yeah. So I switched gears. But when I was making music for a long time, everybody was like, I don't know, you're all over the place. You haven't convinced us that you can focus and do something that has some sort of point to it. So I got really kind of aggravated by that thought. And I started to think about, well, let me just show everybody that I'm perfectly capable of focusing. I just haven't had a reason to. And for me, the reason why I love comic books the way I do is because the stakes are so high. The stakes of a comic book are the end of the world, whether it's for an individual who, if not for Batman or the Punisher, isn't going to make it through the night, or if it's for the whole world, because if we don't push that, comet out of the way, it's going to collide with us and we're dead. Thank God.
I agree. I agree, Jesse. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's about people admire the perseverance and they love heroes. Well, human beings love heroism, whether it's a comic book or if we see a news story where a fireman pulls someone from a burning building or a soldier does something heroic in the name of his country. We love stories of heroism, and comic books are a way that we can emulate that and give someone an uplifting story about heroism and perseverance and overcoming the odds, and people can get inspiration from that. You can inspire other people that, even though they're fictional characters,
Yes, and there's something even bigger at play here.
Hmm.
Um, I was an atheist when I was a kid.
Yeah.
For a long time, I didn't start to open my mind to any other possibilities until I was like in my late 20s. But as I
I hear you.
did, I really began to open up to a very simple concept that is true. Everything is infinite. Every individual thing is its own infinite piece of a larger infinity.
Hmm.
And when we say something like, oh, you're smart, you're an A student, or you're dumb, you're a failure, we are limiting ourselves so much, even when we're complimenting ourselves, because an A student is so far away from an infinite thinker. And that's
Hmm.
what we all are. We are
That's a good
infinite
point.
thought machines. And we are limiting ourselves in our expression all the time. And it wasn't until Blacklight District that I really saw how I was limiting myself, because it wasn't until I pretended that I was the Hulk and that I couldn't find inner peace that I was finally able to talk about myself being Jesse, not being able to find inner peace,
Hmm.
and not being able to control my emotions, and feeling like I'm a bad guy as much as I'm a good guy. These are things that I could not say about myself in the current paradigm, because when you start to think these thoughts, you go, well, obviously I don't have it so bad as the guy in Rwanda who's starving and never had
Yeah.
a mom or a dad. And then
Right. But
before you know it, you are subverting and supplanting your true meaning and your emotional, what you want to say is, I was suffering, I was tortured, it was horrible. And you're like, it wasn't so good, it was a little uncomfortable, I didn't really like it. But that's not what you want to say. You want to say, it was the worst, it was so terrible, you've never felt pain like this before. And it's only by allowing ourselves as artists to go to that really, really severe place of pain that we're of any use to the people who are actually suffering that kind of pain.
that's good. That's
How am I
beautiful.
supposed to write a song to adequately comfort a veteran if I won't allow myself to feel that I'm having an equal sort of pain experience, despite the fact that my perspective is different, my situation is different? Everybody knows what it's like to feel like you're struggling to find your own peace. And when we wrote about Captain America in Frozen, everybody knows what it's like to feel stuck in time and to feel like life is moving on without you. That
Yeah.
is a universal experience for anybody. And when we really get to the heart of those things, I think you find that everybody is like, yes, I get it. Holy shit. Yeah, man. Fuck, I've had the same experience too.
That's
And you'll
beautiful,
find
and
that.
that's beautiful, Jesse. And I think that I love how you led into it as well, because what you were saying to lead into it is that a compliment and also getting down on yourself on the other side of the spectrum. Neither of those thought processes are healthy, because when you tell someone that they're an A student, or you tell yourself, "Hey, I'm great," you know what I mean? Then you stop striving to be better. And the thing is about writing and creating is that you can always get better. And even if it's not necessarily better, because that's subjective, you learn new things and new methods, and you get to try new things. And just like you said, you're limiting yourself to certain thought process. If you say, hey, I'm good, I'm great,
Yeah,
and
you don't
I've done
want to
it.
accept you don't want to accept the plateau.
Yeah.
And it's funny because recently I've been kind of like thinking about myself as sort of like being on a plateau or working towards a plateau. Um, Not that I was like, okay, and then I'm done for good. But it was just sort of a nice thought of like, yes, I'm working towards something and I'm going to get to a new plateau. And then from that place, I'll be able to continue. But then I had this sort of vision of, have you ever seen, crap, I forget what they're called now. They're these blots. And these different scientists, they have like every shape in the known universe. And like you just keep focusing and zooming in on them. And it never changes. You can just keep going infinitely for forever. It just keeps going. You never actually land at a single point on this grid. You just get closer and closer and closer to seeming like you're going to get somewhere, and you never do. And that's really the path. You know, we're kind of falling through this existence, and you know, there are a lot of people who like to be like not ping pong balls, like pinball machine balls, where they're like hitting every light and smack, bing, 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 bing. You know, they're just setting
Yeah.
off the whole machine.
Yeah.
But I believe people, you know, the spiritual teachers like somebody like Bruce Lee would tell you that, you know, you have to be like water, my friend. You have
Hmm.
to through the machine, and not feel so threatened by any given piece of it, and certainly never threatened by your personal expression of what
That's
your life is or what your life has been. And
I
I do
love that, and
believe that
that's
there's just so many people around on the planet who can honor experience they're having, because they have seen so many other painful experiences that make it impossible for them to compare themselves. And, you know, it just leaves your own pain. You know, to feel your pain. What a thing that is to suggest to anyone.
Well, I love that, man, because there's a lot of things going on in the comic industry now, mainstream and independent comics. You know, Diamond Distribution shut down recently, and they shut down DC and Marvel as far as like creating new stories. They're not able to ship stories. Um, a lot of people were sent home. You know what I mean? I imagine they have staff that are still working, but ultimately because of the COVID virus, it's stopped production, and so they're having a hard time with that. I imagine there's a lot of guys that are freelance that don't have work right now. I have to say, in my honest opinion, there in mainstream comics there are some people that that are out of work that should be out of work. Comics have changed a lot since you know the heyday, since the golden age. They've evolved, which is good. You know, I'm not against change, but you know, recently, you know, there's stories that have been sent out with the quality of writing, the content, the decisions that are being made, and ultimately, as the customer, you should have the power to not buy it. And then these books, these writers or whoever it is that are not selling work are let go. That's generally how things happen in comics. That's why good writers are good writers. But there's been a lot of things, political things that have been happening behind the scenes that allow people who are not quality writers, who aren't selling books, to continue to keep their job, to get a paycheck from the company, and then these books are still hitting the shelves. And so you know you know there's good and bad writers everywhere, but comics have changed a lot. And I love the idea of doing independent, and you're doing independent comics, so you know, it's a beautiful community. Independent comic creators are free. You know what I mean? We don't have to answer to an editor. We're creating our own thing, and it's our own expression. And I think that's the direction that comics are going now. I mean, I'm not saying there's not a place for mainstream comics, but as far as creators, it's never been easier to publish, to write, create, and publish your own work with print on demand. So there's more people that are going to be able to do that, and so we're going to get more. You know what I mean? We're going to have a large variety. We're going to have a lot more independent that's quality. It's able to hit the quality mark. So I'm definitely excited about that. You have a release coming out April 3rd, don't you, Jesse, for your music?
Yeah, yes, I've got the Blacklight District comic book slash album was never released in any normal Pat line for free as an artist in 2016, and then I guess in 2018 we came out from Image. But Blacklight District, the EP
Nice.
is finally coming out. There's a whole bunch of music from me that is all coming out at once. So Blacklight District EP on Friday will be available again, as well as this album 16 that I had put out, which is like a redone version of that. It has a lot of different styles, comedy. There's a song that we used to
Nice.
promote King of Kings that my father sings. Me and my father sing as Odin, Thor. There's a song
Oh, that's cool.
Godmother Doll for Kickstarter that is like a theme song for the Scary Godmother. That it's like the Sherman Brothers, like a Disney kind of vibe.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then finally, what's also coming out this Friday.
Oh, you were breaking up a little bit. Your audio. Oh yeah, I picked some songs out from that album. That's a fantastic album, and
and um, the
your audio is breaking up a little bit, Jesse.
And
oh, you did. I'm sorry to hear that.
Hard and sort of setting myself up for just making my own romantic experience difficult so hard by trying too hard. The record, made me realize that the serial killers and the rapists among us, sort of like, they're polarized too much love and bad. And the slip, I hope people take a chance to listen to that record in its entirety, because the Loved Ones EP and 16, those were just like collections of different cool stuff that I've done, but
that was great.
Are both very specific kind of art projects that are trying to say a specific thing. And yeah, all of those.
I picked tracks off of that album too.
Say again.
Yeah, I did for my. Oh, I was gonna say, you mentioned the slip. I picked some songs, quite a few actually. I think there were 6 songs. Yeah, I've got. Nope, there's 5 there that I picked out that I specifically wanted for my rotation. It's a fantastic album.
Cool.
And something else I wanted to mention too that I admire about your music, discovering it, is that as I went through all the albums, I listened to everything before you came in here today, because I wanted to hear a full spectrum of the music and your creation, and respect it. You know what I mean? You were coming on my channel, and I wanted to hear your expression. I listened to everything, and what I got from it is that not only were there tracks that I enjoyed, but there were tracks that I didn't enjoy, and it's a good thing. And that sounds funny, but the reason why it's a good thing is because there's such a variety there of music and types. You're so multi-talented with the music that there's something there for everybody. There's heavy stuff that I want to listen to when I'm writing action. There's pop songs. There's stuff you can dance to. There's stuff that's almost has like a country sound to it. You've done so many different genres of music almost in in there that I think there's a little something for everybody if you go down through all the lists, which is amazing. That's fantastic. There's some people that.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. No, I really mean it. I think that's cool to be able to do that. There are people who are specialists and stick to one genre, but you were able to experiment and do so many different things and do them well, that I think that's cool, man. Yeah, I like that.
For me, I'm just a bit of an intellectual in how I approach everything. My sense of humor tends to be a little silly, funny.
Me too.
Because I of reality. For me, genre is of intent and performance. And like, there's no genre, so much energy, and that each musical style has its own energy too. I happen to think that the inherent in rock and roll be like shuffled off of the sort of mixture of the emotion that's put in music, and really like a genre so much. It's just a position you take in your performance of a thing. Rock and roll is about shaking the cage. So whenever you're approaching an idea within a melody where that idea needs to be shook up, it's just, for me, it's a little tool. Just like country music or blues music is a really great tool, relax you and bring you into a story, and get some storytelling going and open your mind to that kind of entry of the music. And I really, genre is its own animal that can be used in conjunction with one another. The same
That's
way
right.
you take the Marvel Universe and you're like, okay, Thor and a little Captain America, Wolverine, now I got this little team.
It's different flavors.
My bad guy's gonna be
It's like different flavors or
This is
different
that
types
flavor.
of
This is that
expression.
flavor.
Yeah. And you can hit, and that's exactly what I know exactly what you're saying. You're saying it because ultimately comic books and music, all of entertainment is an expression. And so using those different genres as a tool to express a certain emotion or express a certain idea or express a certain, honestly, like to express anything can be done through these different mediums and these different genres. So I like that. Yeah, they're tools. They're tools. And I agree with you 100%. I feel the
Do you know
same
that
way. And
song?
I'm genuine when I say that. Like with my writing, I write a title that has multiple characters in it. It's an eight character driven group story, and I call them tools. The 8 characters are developed characters. They're tools that I can use to express certain ideas because they're all different, you know? So it's the same thing. You're using these different genres to
So
express these different ideas and hit these notes, so to speak, literally and figuratively. That's very cool, man.
man,
I
you
like
got to
that.
use the toy test, as writers at Marvel might say.
Yeah,
And that
absolutely.
is the thing. Like when you're to genre, what you're essentially doing, limiting yourself to being able to utilize the tools that are utilized in the other genres. And I've always just been like, fuck that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
steal that good idea, and I'm gonna steal that good.
Well,
Like,
ultimately at this point,
these
like
are all great
everything's
ideas.
been
Why
done,
are they only
you
being
know?
used for this?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And
everything
express it
has
and
been
do it in
done.
your own way. I think it's more today. I mean, there are some places where you can break some new ground, but for the most part, it's not so much what you do as how you do it. Being innovative and doing things in new ways is um, definitely something that can always be done with any material, you know?
Yeah,
Yep.
no, absolutely. And and I really just think it's everything really is one. And in if you make a chart, right, just make like a line on a piece of paper, and you can draw a little dot in the middle, and then like on the left you write love, and on the right you write hate. When does the one become the other?
Yeah. I mean, if you
When
love
become
something, hate
the other?
something.
Yeah, exactly. It's not two things, it's one thing, and it's different degrees of the one thing, right? So similarly, um,
Hmm.
when does the pop song become a rock song? Because I shouted one line.
Yeah,
When
that's
does
true. Yeah, there's a good
the
point there.
rock song come in because there's an electronic keyboard playing? The
Hmm.
the things that are housing us in a genre are really just preventing us from creating at the top. Like, hey, I could make you a salad only, as everything is such a salad, and you can go make a really good one. Or I can give you a huge ass salad bar that includes Caesar dressing, everything you might need for croutons and anything for your Caesar salad, but also every other thing that has never been included in a Caesar salad before.
Hmm.
Which kind of salad bar you want to go to?
I want the one where you have the most choices. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
the most
So I
options.
mean,
Yeah,
it's just,
you
and for
definitely want
so
to have
long we've been
more.
locked. Exactly. We've been locked in a limited number of choice for a long time, and largely it comes down to fearful, less creative people at the top who are the gatekeepers for the things. And these
Hell
gatekeepers,
yeah,
they don't
brother.
they don't rec- they don't know what they're looking at. And like you said something the other day, and this is another part of it. I mean, not the other day, just a few minutes ago, about people who aren't working right now, who maybe shouldn't be working, who were yesterday. And
Yeah.
the interesting thing, I, I've been in the comic book industry for a very long time, and comic books are the one thing that I really, really did pursue very directly in the traditional way. Going to conventions, meeting editors, doing
Mm.
lots of pitches, trying to get in there. I can't tell you how many amazing pitches that I've had that I got like ridiculous compliments for while being told whatever stupid reason why they couldn't do it. Like,
Mm.
oh, it took us a year before it was able to get to the right person, and now Blade is being used in the X-Men. So that brilliant Blade pitch that you wrote that everybody in our office was fucking in love with, it's just not possible anymore because we took a year to bring this to the person who needed to see it, and other things are already going on. I picked Blade at the time because he was the perfect choice. He wasn't being used.
He was a great character
Proven
too.
what could be done with Blade. He's a great character. They proved what you could do in the Marvel universe by making the vampires science fiction. They're science fiction vampires. I'm like, literally, the only thing you haven't done right with Blade at Marvel is you have not brought enough of the science fiction depiction of Blade into the Marvel universe. And I had an amazing just recapturing of him coming in a really big way. And it was loved. And I loved it. I was so excited. I was certain it was going to happen. And you don't know how many pitches that I've had at various companies that I thought was certain were going to happen. But meanwhile, there's this sort of very simple, easy sort of, are you my drinking buddy? Is it convenient? Were you handed to me by my superior? Will you take the low rate that I'm going to give you, offer you? And everybody, there's so many people who want to write comics, just like there's so many people who want to make music. That's not to say that the people who really should be doing it are the ones who are doing it all the time. And when we see some movie made about one of our favorite things, and you're somebody who loves it, and you watch it, and you go, this person is not me. They're not a me. They did not love this. I love this thing. I never would have allowed this to get out like this. What the hell am I looking at? How did they not get somebody who really loved and understood this to handle it? But not how it goes. In the Disney office says, hey, who likes the Muppets? And everybody raises their hand. Everybody, even the person who thinks, well,
absolutely, I love the Muppets.
Stupid, but yeah, I like the Muppets, because they want a job. Now, somebody who should not any control creatively over this does. When I did the Muppets, when I did Muppet Snow White, I handed in what I consider to be one of the greatest scripts. I wrote the first issue, the second issue, and the third issue to back in like 5 days, because I'm so big Muppets fan, and I knew that I was just channeling classic Henson, classic Oz. I was doing it. I was killing it. And I took about 4 months to write the 4th issue in the series, because when I was about to start issue 4, I got notes on issue 1. And eventually I got sent a PDF, not a PDF, a Microsoft Word, had 6 different color coordinated corrections from the 6 different levels of people. Which one was like the person controlling the Muppets. The other one was the person who was like inside the Muppets, controlling the Muppets, who's a writer for the Muppets, who, oh my God, he should not be in charge of writing for
the Muppets. That's a conflict of interest anyway. If he's editing, that ain't right. That's a conflict of interest if he's writing the work and he's also in charge of who gets to write new content.
He couldn't stand me making fun of Scooter, because he personally has a bug up his ass about Scooter. So there was just some comedy inherent in the Gopher. That's all I'm doing is playing on the comedy that's already inherent in the show. But he saw that and he went, "Oh, you're making fun of Scooter."
But there's some silly people in entertainment too. You know that, Jesse. I mean, I talk with people who've worked in comics. They're saying the same thing that you're saying, is that you get it, and I see it. You can go on their Twitter feeds and you can see these people. You can tell that they're a dullard. You know what I mean? But the thing is people get in. I mean, obviously this isn't the rule. There's an exception. There's some people that are doing this, that they get in, they get their friends in. Once they get their position, they want to protect it. And then if you can protect it in a way so that you don't have to try and be good, you know what I mean? Then they're going to do that. What if they can't? That's all they can do. They want to protect that job. And up and coming talent that shows promise. There's no more of that old school gentlemanly, encourage youngsters to come up and to try and things. They want to keep that shit down because they want that position for themselves.
Well,
I've seen a lot. That's a gatekeeper. I fucking hate gatekeepers. I can't stand that shit.
Oh, you know Devin Grayson? You ever read any of Devin Grayson's work?
I'm not familiar.
I like Devin Grayson, okay. However, she has said in interviews many times, and you can read it in her work, and it really doesn't matter that she's a good writer. Attitude is such. She doesn't really care what everybody else is doing or has done or whatever. She's just like, I'm a writer, and I'm gonna write Nightwing the way I want to write Nightwing. And I'm sorry, but no, no, no. If you were tasked by the Catholic Church, work on a new chapter of the Bible, you got to honor the things that Jesus had previously set up in the Bible. You can't just go and write your own fucking Bible, completely dismissing the Bible that came before. There are mythology, and they have stood the test of time. They've stood because of the mythology being honored. And it's very important, actually, that so much of this mythology is honored, because so much space that is there for these characters comes from the fact that they're not alike. Batman is like Green Arrow. They're different. And being different is to them actually being able to be periodical books that continue to come out, you know, next to each other, because they're not the exact same thing. They're different things, very different. And there is a path that needs to be on, and a lot that have come into the industry, who've come in from television or video games or whatever it might be. They only have a passing sort of love and affection for these things. I mean, sometimes you literally, I saw a creator, and I mean, this is why there's a lot of sexism sometimes, because the female creators sometimes will say really outlandish things in the name of like this, but stuff like, whoa, it sounds like you're here to hurt me and like hurt the things I love. Like, you just said that you came to destroy the comic industry from within.
And then
why did you say that?
I know, in addition,
industry, I don't just.
And even just saying it mockingly and jokingly, and if you're not toeing the mark, or if you know what I mean, especially if it's somebody who's been bouncing jobs recently and not, you know what I mean? I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's that kind of mentality where people don't own their own work. It was like you were saying before, like, you tell yourself you're great or you tell yourself you're terrible, you're cutting off the opportunity to get better. You know what I mean? When you're limiting yourself to that. Some people don't do that. They don't care.
Yeah.
They get into a position and the quality's not there. So what's going to happen when the customer gets this? They're talking on Twitter like they're you know, like they're top dog. And then when the books come out, people are not buying them. People are not enjoying them. Customers are complaining about the work, and then people get snide. People get, you know, they make sarcastic remarks like the one that you mentioned from that creator, and then they don't accept it. They don't own it. They don't value the customer's opinion. They throw them a, you know, they throw them a snotty remark, or they slam them on Twitter, and, you know, it causes a big argument. Other fans are arguing and all this, but, you know, at no point did they ever acknowledge what the customer said and acknowledge it as a valued opinion. If someone tells me I suck, I want to know why. I want them to tell me and say, why do you think it sucks? I enjoyed that. I thought it was really good, but what happened when you read it? You know, you want to hear that. You want to take that feedback and look at your own work and be critical of it. That's how you get better. You know, even if you disagree with it, look at it.
Well, that's the thing of them saying that Star Wars it's the fans.
That's
like
right.
Saying, our restaurant's not the problem. It's not food. It's the customer.
Yeah, how can you say that? Those people are making. That's how you make your living. The whole point is you making the customer happy. That's how you make money. That's what the point of it is, so that you can keep doing it. If you're passionate about food, you have to make good food when you're so that people will come back, and so that you can continue to make food. You can't make terrible food and nobody's in your restaurant. You say, well, I'm a restaurant entrepreneur. Well, no, you're not, because you're not getting better. You're not looking at the writing on the wall. You're not bringing customers in. You know, it's the same thing with anything that's a passion, whether it's music, whether it's comics, whether it's laying hot top. You know, I know people who are passionate about labor. I'm a laborer. I've been a laborer since I was 13. I paid Social Security in. I got farm jobs. I worked. And so you could be passionate about those types of jobs too. I've met people that loved it. They loved to go out and get dirty, work with their hands. And that was their thing. They were passionate about it. You know, but if you're not trying.
Florist. I worked at a 7-Eleven selling cleanings. So I in Chicago Comic-Con by bus ticket. You know, you got to do what you got to do what you love. The trouble is the pool of reasonable candidates for the jobs is way too big,
Hmm.
and unrightly so. The people on the list, I don't know why they're on the list. They're on the list for superficial reasons. If they were really trying to find people who had a talent for writing or the properties, and were angling towards everything that they did at Marvel and DC, just like that. Disney, with all these remakes, you want to remake one of these Disney. There's somebody who loves the original so much, and I
Yeah,
mean, really, love is what gets the best work. It's our binds with the opportunity that great runs come. Brian
that's
Michael
right.
Bendis loved Daredevil and the aesthetic of Daredevil, and that great run came from
Hey,
his great love of that kind of storytelling. And Wade loves one Silver Age comics and Barry Allen and the idea of honoring the past, and from that great love of the past came Wally West being the new Flash, carrying that mantle. The best stuff comes from a place of our love. And you know what, there's one thing that I'll of just in terms of love, this inspired the hell out of me the other day. There is an amazing new painting from Alex Ross. He homage to Rob Liefeld, and it is simply breathtaking. It is so beautiful. And Alex has traditionally been the type of artist who is kind of up in the air to more recent characters, to more recent depictions of characters. He's, Silver Age all the way. And you see him do something from the 70s, it's like, oh, thank God. See him do a 90s comic artist, and not just anyone, but Rob, the most criticized 90s comic book artist there is. And Alex gave so much love to what Rob does. He really made, oh yeah, good choice. But
yeah,
Alex
I had to, for whole
literally
got the
made
Brian Michael
sense
Bendis run.
of all of Rob Liefeld's weird loops and the way he draws legs. You gotta look at it. It is a Rob Liefeld piece, but holy crap, it's real. Somehow, his eyes, he's brought Rob's art to life, and I'll never look at Rob's art the same way again because of how well Alex did loving Rob's art and making it look like $1 million. And like, that's it. Just when we're sitting there and we're taking the job and we're writing the thing because, well, it's our job, it's just not, that's not the way. It's if it comes from a place of love, we're gonna make great stuff, and everybody's gonna love it because it came from there. And if we're doing it any other way, people are gonna sense that it's phony. They're gonna sense that it's not exactly righteous. So many of the comics that have like out of left field and been really crossover books, they're all spearheaded by the creators. Like, oh my God, I love Darkwing Duck. I love Big Trouble in Little China. I love Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Hey, you guys got the Ninja Turtles license. Let me do something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Those are all classics. I know.
And stuff that we like.
Love them. No, I'm with you on that. I love them. Those classics. Yeah, absolutely. Get somebody. Oh, I was a big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm a big fan of He-Man, which was a comic series as well. But it was actually a comic series to sell toys. And then the TV series, like the television series, was to sell toys. I'm 38, so I was born in 81. So the 80s were my time. You know what I mean? That during that time when those cartoons were coming out, I played Atari. I was a gamer. I loved Atari. But I was in the age of Nintendo. So when I got an Atari, it was because Nintendo had come out. My parents didn't buy it for me. My grandmother bought me an Atari that someone had got rid of because Nintendo had come out. You know what I mean? Which was much better. So I got an Atari with like a whole box of all the games. So I got to just play them all at once. You know what I mean? I didn't have to get them. And then I got a Nintendo. My first game was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for regular NES. And then I was big into He-Man. Transformers was a big one too. I remember when Transformers the movie came out in '86. Oh, I was nuts about. I couldn't wait to see
I'm a
that
huge
movie. Like
Master.
I was so excited. I know it's an awesome title, isn't it? So
Yeah,
great though.
I mean,
So much fun.
Screw it up.
Yeah, yeah. Recently,
That's one of those ones.
I
Like,
guess
I don't
Kevin
know.
got on it.
I don't know how many people.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of people who want to get their claws into that. You know what I mean? That's not all up to Kevin Smith. You know, there's a lot of influence there, and there's a lot of people that got their fingers into that. You'll never know. There's so many cooks. You never know what that soup's going to come out like. You know what I mean? That's the thing I think about those big corporate things. You know, that's the difference between indie and a corporate model is that there's a lot of cooks, and you've got a lot of opinions, and you've got a lot of guys that have power over creative types that can make decisions, and you know those things don't always mesh well, and it's hard on creativity, especially when they tell you, well, no, your vision isn't good enough, you're going to do it this way and try to make this work. And so you're trying to do this. When you're creating your own work, you're free and clear, man. You're in charge of it. You get to express yourself any way you want. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I think it's superior to the corporate model in that way. But the way it's inferior always, you know, there's exceptions, but the way it's inferior always, I think, is that money. Those corporate models, they got money to produce and they can make it look sharp. You know, whatever it is they do, whether you like the content or not, they can use money's no object. You know what I mean? But larger corporations already have success, so the indie guys don't always have that. So you got page rates are sometimes a problem. I've run into situations where I want to pitch a project or do something. Page rates are a problem. I add it up and I'm like, holy fuck, I got to pay. You know, I got a bill to pay. I can't afford to pay these guys to do this. So that's that. Go ahead. Sorry about that. I know you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Well, you know what is a really interesting thing, you know, when it comes to stuff like, you know, math is a really good example of something that gets announced, and I immediately go into my place of worry. There's and you know, you can honor some pieces of a thing and make something okay. You can honor a lot of pieces of a thing and make something pretty good, and you can really do your due diligence and honor something as completely as possible, and you can win the whole game. And one of the things that has recently done this was the Lego movie. The such a honor of the experience of those who have any interest in web. It's the experience of creating nothing, interacting with our family, and the, that roots of those felt like you were learning something, you were getting something from the experience. You know, if they could do the same, the Masters of the Universe, consideration that the baseline audience began hand. You know, this doesn't mean that we have to see people playing with toys, but we have to recognize what is the world building that goes into I had a He-Man toy and I had another toy. Well, a lot of it is the visuals that were inherent in the toy and honoring those visuals because they are implanted in people's brains and they have been dying for somebody to bring it to life for a long time. And the things that people universally were appreciating about something like He-Man and the Map Universe, which is in the you know, He-Man and the Masters Universe is technology and magic. There's no delineation. Yeah. It's all
That's right.
Together in one spot. Very much
it is.
time ago in a galaxy far away, and there's ray guns. You know, we're a full society. That was one thing about Masters of the Universe. So bringing together and bringing alive that world. The problem with the original Masters of the Universe is it didn't do any of that. It just brought us to Earth. You know, a really interesting world that could be made real and could be honored.
In addition to,
they're down to there, and we have been imagining for the past, you know 3-4 decades. That I can not wait to see the Masters Universe movie.
Yeah, I'm interested in taking a look at it. I'm like you, man.
Don't things. I'm heavy lifting to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm excited to see it. I mean, I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. You know, we had that movie a while back with that was done way back when, and I personally, as a big fan, I was disappointed in it. I was really excited to go see it, and I watched it, but even watching it after the fact, like it didn't age very well. Um, and so like the thing is with what you said about He-Man that I enjoyed about it is the same. Anything was possible because you had technology and it was almost like a medieval. They had weapons, but also there was a magic aspect to it, like the sorceress and Castle Grayskull itself being a site of magic, of good magic, and Snake Mountain and Skeletor being a sorcerer and like or a wizard or whatever. So yeah, absolutely. It was there was a lot to it and a lot of aspects to it that were entertaining. It had a lot of humor in it, the writing and everything, and there was humor. The comedic relief for the whole thing was so much fun. Characters like Orko, which I loved myself as a
Hey,
kid,
my
and in it,
connection to you is so good. Chat back into the. I can't hear you very good.
what's that? Oh, you can't hear me very
I
good.
said, can I
What about
leave the
now?
chat? I
Yeah, absolutely. I'll
hear
bring you right
you.
back in. Actually, oh, you can't. Okay. Um, actually, okay, perfect. What I'm going to do now is I am going to play a song. Take a moment while Jesse, there was something with the audio. He had a bad connection. He tried going outside. And so he's going to try to get back in and we're going to bring him in. But he's definitely a smart guy and a talented guy. His music is incredible. We're going to play a track for you guys so you can listen to it while we're taking this break and getting his audio started. If you look below, we have a banner coasted along the bottom there. We would like to tell everybody, please, if you can, go over to Indiegogo, take a look at Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet. It's a fantastic comic book from a 27-year veteran of the comic book industry. He's broken out as an independent, a very successful independent. His book looks beautiful. I get to see artwork from this project almost daily. I've been following. And so take a look at that. In addition, I wanted to say Jesse's been great. This is a lot of fun to talk with him because he's multi-talented. He does comics, he does music. You're going to get to hear some of his music now. But next week we've got an exciting guest for you. We're going to have Paris Cullins, who is a 35-year a 35-year professional comic book artist. He worked at DC Comics and he's best known as the creator of Blue Devil. There he is. Hey, Jesse.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You can. Good. Yeah, we
That's how
just
you
needed to
call up
reconnect. No, I was just spilling off at the mouth and doing my podcast thing. I was saying, I was telling everybody to go to Indiegogo, take a look at Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet. It's done by Ethan Van Sciver, who is a 27-year veteran in the comic book industry. Another guy who worked there at the same time as one of my.
Ethan was trying to work with me for a while.
Yeah, no, I think he's great. He's a lot of fun. And those guys have been killing it on crowdfund. Everybody sees it. You know what I mean? The product is good. His books are beautiful. His artwork is fantastic. The guy is definitely in the right field. He's a fantastic artist. And another guy who's a fantastic artist who worked at DC around the same time is one of my good friends. He's a member of Cornerstone Creative Studios. His name's Paris Cullins. He's the creator of Blue Devil. And he also did a definitive run on Blue Beetle while he was at DC that Alan Moore based the character Night Owl from Watchmen. And so he did a definitive run. He's well known for that run. He also did Forever People by Forever People that was written by Grant Morrison. He wrote scripts from Jack Kirby that was New Gods.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people like that. Why the Comic Book Alliance, exists. There are so many people who have been dropped from the IT crowd. I've been trying to really hustle and change the way this is done for a long time. So I've played a lot of games with different people that I wanted to work with. For a minute, I was trying to get Chuck Dixon. I felt like he should have a monthly book. There's tons of people who would read anything that he wrote, and it was really just a matter of coming up with the right thing for him. And I couldn't believe that nobody was utilizing his talent, because he's so great at what he does. And it's funny, I was going to say this earlier. There's become a It's interesting. Comic books, whether people believe it or not, they were always political and had within them a certain amount of agenda of the various writers who were writing them. But what's come about now is a sort of a corporate agenda. And the corporate agenda really makes it feel like we're being fed everything ham-fistedly.
Yeah,
Um, as you have
obvious.
like an overall ideology that comes down from the top, and you're only seeing the things that fit within that ideology show up on the radar. So it starts to look like, hey man, we're really being like sent a clear message here. It's not to say that there weren't always a great mix, because comic books didn't take a political thing back in the day.
Hmm.
They were a great place for super progressive ideas, always, and
That's
also a
right.
great place to explore some of the more libertarian ideals that govern a lot of people's lives. So, you know, they're the characters individually are sort of uniquely created already to make these sort of statements as it is. So to think that there shouldn't be any room for that, I think, is folly. But certainly where it's gone is not the best place, because it's become very homogenized. um,
Yeah.
and I think over the past like decade, I mean, and I've stopped reading monthly, comics a while ago. I still read just as I feel like reading something.
Yeah.
But you know,
But that's right.
there's been a much more superficial kind of conversation that's going on through the narratives of these characters. I feel like the focus is, well, let's marry off North Star so that we're getting those gays covered. um, I, I'm totally down to see gays represented, and want women to be represented. All these
That's right. Of
things.
course we do. Because we're
I don't.
I think you're an intelligent person, and that's why, I have gay friends, I have lesbian friends, people that I grew up with and that were in school, but they don't act like that. They don't come in and bludgeon you with their sexual orientation. Just like when I walk into a room, I don't say, hey, I have a wife, I like to have sex with women only. I don't say that when I walk in a room. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and
Like
why
it.
people know that that's not the way. Like as a white man, like it's the way for me to expand on my rights isn't to rub it in everybody's face, or um, try to, like, here's the thing, like, and I won't name names, but I have a very
That's
good
fine.
friend of mine who's black, and he's a very reasonable guy. Just that's why he's my friend. Like I'm friends with reasonable, open-minded people. At the same
That's
time,
awesome.
though, he's been displaying a through line, and I keep occasionally just kind of calling him on it, because I just think it's missing the point, where we'll have that conversation about the whitewashing of characters, which I hate. That guy's not supposed to be a white guy. Why'd we make him a white guy? Um, you know, the When it goes the other way, and there's a cultural washing of the white, he is unwilling to stand up, and he says, good, I'm glad, that's what you get. And I believe that, aren't we supposed to be searching for the level head to prevail? And when we recognize that there's been a misappropriation of power, that something's gone wrong, that the idea isn't, well, let's flip it all the way to this other side so the other people can suffer too, but to find the reasonable balance within the thing, which is the Wally West doesn't have to change his race. We can introduce a new character, or introduce a character who is that race. There are ways to do these things appropriately, and when you do them appropriately, it just makes everybody happier. Nobody's
That's
like,
right.
man, I really would have liked Wally West if he was Hispanic. But when Wally
Yeah,
West is
nobody says
Hispanic,
those
there
kind
are
of things.
people, yeah, but there are some people going, I feel a little disconnected from this character because they chose to make him Hispanic. They also chose to want to differentiate him a little bit from his white counterpart. And now I don't really feel like I've been serviced at all. I don't really feel like I have Wally West. I
You
feel
know?
like I've got this new thing, which I didn't agree to in the first place. And I never said I wanted it, but now you're giving it to me. And now you have a new game that you're playing. You're not saying, oh, you like Wally West? Here he is. You're saying, oh, you like Wally West? Well, here's this other thing that's kind of like it. And now you're playing a game of whether or not we're going to buy in to that new paradigm you just
And
created.
see, and then there's these
And
people that like that do that, and basically what that is they're throwing a social pitch at the mainstream when the fans come at them with that, like, hey, why isn't it more than this? Why isn't this inclusive? And why isn't this? And I'm all for diversity if it's natural. You know what I mean? If something's happening
yes,
naturally, but I don't want someone, like I said, I don't want someone bludgeoning me with it, and I don't want it to seem forced because it takes away from the story. And those mainstream companies are not handling it well. They're getting thrown this pitch, and they're taking it and fucking it all up. They're trying to they're
well, that's
pressuring
what
the creators to,
they're
you
making
need to
too
do it this way,
official
just
jerk
do it. And they
responses.
don't, yeah, that's right. And then they're frustrated, and because they fucked it up, and then they're getting backlash, you know what I mean? And then they get offended, and they don't take the advice. They don't listen to it. They're like, well, I'm a writer at Marvel, so why should I listen to you civilians? You know what I mean? And it's just like, what, how can you, those are your customers, those are people that care about these characters, you know what I mean? You can't treat them like that because you didn't care about the character you wrote it, you know what I mean? If you don't care about the character enough to do it justice, and then, you know, whether it doesn't matter, even if it's not the orientation, it
Well,
could be the quality of the comic.
We're getting to a very interesting point with all of this stuff where sort of nobody is, because these periodicals, they live so long, it's just a matter of time before everybody has been raped. It's just a matter of time before everybody has died, time before everybody has had their moral flipped completely upside down by the latest villain who decided that he was going to just challenge this hero in the way that the ideas of what you do to a myth are really being played out. So, for me, I really believe the new day is creating the myths of the future. As we see how easy it is to appropriate these myths, and already, I mean, I think they closed the chapter, and I mean, on the latest Skywalker saga, and I don't think anybody wants to go look in that box anytime soon. Maybe one day feelings about the recent trilogy will change.
Because
now
they didn't get it.
All right,
Right.
what can we do during the period before Hope and whatever Mandalorian, and keep this energy going, because we fucked up that energy, and it's just a matter of time before it's not the thing that you once thought it was, and now,
That's right.
here we go. You root audience. You're losing the people who you invested in this franchise and this property, all this stuff, because of us. I,
Right.
you and I, we have to. I'm the fan that you were looking for. I care about these characters deeply. Misappropriate what they are, who they are, use them for your own means, and don't utilize them the way we have come to appreciate their utilization. We're going to resent you and start looking to other people, our fix.
That's right. Yeah, we're not
skills that we're looking for.
Yeah, well, because they take that attitude. It depends on the type of creator. Again, if someone is a genuine person, just like I suspect that you are. I think you're great, Jesse. This has been awesome. Those people get in there and they get this job and like, oh, I'm writing for Star Wars. Wait till you see what I do for you. I'm going to do this for you because I'm doing. And it's not about that. You're trying to be genuine and you're trying to do something great. That's what you need to take. You say, I got Star Wars. This needs to be great. I need to dig deep within myself and do the best that I can to make an amazing script that's not contrived. I need to care about every line of script, every line of dialogue that those actors are going to deliver. It needs to be sharp. It needs to be exciting when it needs to be. It needs to be It needs to be dramatic, you know, and it needs to be heart-wrenching, and it needs to have those emotions and be developed. It doesn't need to be a big hodgepodge of cool stuff that's thrown in and no fucking rhyme or reason.
Conversation to have right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because fans are emotional on the internet.
Have polarized. I mean, really, in the state of Trump, it's like the moment you call for reason in sort of progressive thinking, what? You know, hey, there's reason in progressive thinking. And, you know, for me, men really new world. Everybody loves to blame the patriarchy. And hey, man, the patriarchy as a whole, the overall energy of fathers protecting our mothers has not been so great. In the name of protecting our mothers, we have been effing up the other fathers who are just trying to protect their mothers, you know. And that's really the place where we've been in this constant battling with each other. And now, in the name of the narrative and rid of the old guard, out of this sort of demonization of men in general, which is very imbalanced. There are things that women have against because of the you know, the uneven behavior of some of the men on this planet. But similarly, due to all of these social contracts and constructs that we have from marriage and relationships and, you know, just family structure, what is expected of us? What is expected of the oldest? We're plain. We're expected to go and die for our countries. We're expected to jump into the bullet for them, and we're expected to things ourselves in a subordinate position to those around us. This constant idea that I am not as valuable as these children or that woman, that is a very to the men. And there are a lot more men who live in that social construct of I'm just a soldier, I'm just the tool, than there are the few men who are at the tippy top upper echelons, males, and being secretive and controlling the structure of our universe. Most of the men are in unhappy relationships and are trying to keep families together and are trying to look out for their mothers or hold their families together, you know, and don't complain much. You know, it's a and some women, you know, who are out there raping and pushing their power on top of other people and, you know, taking control of the world in a way that makes it worse. But everybody, and
that's the thing of it, man. Yeah, I agree. It's balance, you know.
From going black or women are smart. That's it's all due to what your personal little experiences have been any given thing, and we need to keep ourselves open to the idea that great people and creative man, woman, child, any religion, we're all pulling from the same pool of infinite ideas, and we're all capable of coming up with the same.
I like that. I definitely like that opinion, Jesse. And the way I feel.
Back to my buddy working. Sorry, I just want to say I got to get back to my buddy's working, but if we could wrap this up in the next 5, whatever, that'd be awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I think we should sound off and take. I was saying some things before you came in, just about next week's show, and then I wanted to play one of your songs for the people who catch the playback, and for the person who stood in. We have someone who's standing live here, so thanks for hanging with us. This was a lot of fun, Jesse. Thank you so much. I wanted to say real quick on that subject is like. People are so to get true equality, we just need to not give a fuck, and that's where I'm at. Like, look at me, I'm Irish, I'm transparent white, like, and I have lots of friends of all different ethnics and all different sexual orientations. And to me, the way that I look at it personally is that, and the way I was brought up is that I don't care about this thing. It's all right to have pride in the things that you are, or your own sexual orientation, or where you came from and who you are. But, you know, ultimately, to me, I look at it, we are a single race of people. Whether you like to look at it that way or not, or you have certain feelings, we're red on the inside, We all have the same organs. A doctor can work on any human being exactly the same. We are the same. Like we are. We're just there's no difference between a different hair color, a different pigment of skin, a different facial feature, a different none of that stuff matters. And to get to that point where we're going to grow as a human race together, those things have to go away. And it's hard because it's still we don't see it because we're in our own lifetime. And it's really only been over the last 100 years that these things have changed, where women were allowed to vote. And you know there was slavery, there was inequality, and you know we've battled those things, and it's just been very recent, really. And it's a drop. This century is a drop in the bucket of the infinity of time, and we don't. It's hard for us to see it sometimes because we are an individual in our own lifetime. We only see it from our perspective. When you look at it like that, just a drop in the bucket. And how far we've come in all of that time from people who lived in caves, who scun animals, and now we have a point we fly in the sky. We literally fucking fly in the sky in machines that we built. Like, you know, just happened in the last 100 years. You know what I mean? That we learned to fly. Like
ever, yeah, no, I do. And have you
Yep.
ever studied any Native American teachings? I mean, this is a specific.
Yeah, I have a lot of Native friends. Yeah.
From, I forget who it was. It was one of the chiefs a long time ago, and he said something to the effect of, "You may take our children, but they will be reborn children." And believe in that. I don't believe that we come to this planet once and we do this once. I think that we do this a lot of times, and that means that I've been a Native American, and I've been Peruvian, and I've been Spanish, Black, and you know, times I've had lives, a specific one with my ex-wife, where she was a big Scandinavian man, and I was this little American lady. And her dying, her being on her deathbed, but it was a he, and I was a little person, and I was trying to hit him, and he basically, I was a magician, I was so I wanted to take him to my place in the mountain where I could save him, and he was this old stubborn atheist, and he didn't want me to take him on the mountain, on the way up, and I like remember banging my hands on his chest over and over again, trying to wake him up, trying to wake up my husband, who had died on me. And, for whether that's true or not, the possibility that it could be true really is a mental perspective that everybody needs. Because if that's true, and if we are trying to work out all of these little problems and whatnot within society, then that means that if you killed me in my last life, then you're my brother in this life. And now me, we're hanging out being brothers. I'm kind of secretly mad at you because I know on some level you totally killed me last life. Work that stuff out.
Yeah. It's hard to say because I don't have any personal proof, but that doesn't mean there's lots of things that
over the you're a man. I've been planet that just all with that collective karma on every level. And the best thing for us to do is just sort of honor that exists, and that we all think it's bad, and that we want to go to a better. Perpetually denies each other being a representation of the thing that haunts us.
I hear you, man. No, I definitely hope that theory is true. I mean, if I die, I definitely want to come back I'd like to come back and see what it's like to come back as someone successful. Would be great. But I guess the struggle makes you who you are. So, so that's me. I like it. It's a fight. It's a fight every day, man, to express myself. That's what I want to do. I want to make great stories. I want to share them with people. So, yeah, I hope there's some kind of big scheme up there, whoever it is that's in charge. I hope he's got something special planned for me because I'm ready to get something going. I wanted to play your song, and the one that I picked out
about it is, if we're all living in a consensus reality made up of equal measures of what you might call God or the universe, an infinite sort of intelligence, the effects, all the things that we're living in are just what we have previously decided to be true. And the whole it's set up can be re tomorrow. It is collective conscious. Why God isn't acting to save anybody is because God is you and you're not acting to save anybody. And God is me and I'm not acting to save anybody. I've been told that I had so much power to be able to change what's going on. But when we decide collectively, there's so much power in that. At the very least, we can all see that's true. We get behind saving Notre Dame from fires. Oh boy, can we raise some money? We can really make the world a better place. And right now, artistically, that's really what I'm trying to do in the world of comics and music. There's a lot of people who would love to make music. There's a lot of people who would love to make comics, and I'm trying to give those people the opportunities and stability so that they can do their best work. And I'd love to come again chat next month. I've got these. You can pre-order the next like 2 days, but Friday it's available. Baptized by Fire, my first band, that's available. It's all under Jesse Blaze. New record, Come With Me If You Want to Live, is out May 1st. But then me and my friends, we've been working on a six issues, which is a magazine kind of in line with like a heavy metal, but to be a more modern day craft oriented magazine that gives opportunity to talk directly to people who want to make art and do creative things, and can be a hub for talking about the great boys go nearly as much motion as they deserve. We live in a grassroots world, and we've gotten away from that. And I really believe approach. It's when we all lean together. Multiple sticks, multiple. We won't bend. The wind comes because we're leaning on each other, and that really well when the business structure is watching out for art, and that's what I'm all about. And I'm here doing. I really appreciate you having such a deep connection to what I've been able to do so far. Honored.
I enjoyed it genuinely.
Checked out.
No, absolutely. I enjoyed it genuinely. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. I've got my pull list. I said it, but I've got my pull list here. I pulled some stuff to write comics. I wrote down there's the album name and the songs, the tracks. I've got it right here next to my desk where I did. This is my workstation where I do all my comic writing. So I pulled those out so that I'll be able to go back to SoundCloud and I play them. I have headphones on while I write. And they're fantastic. I want to play a song for everybody who's going to catch the playback. And it has been great having you in here. Thank you so much for doing this, Jesse. I really appreciate it, man. I'm starting this new channel, and there's not much of a following, but I want to build, and I want to work to that point where we can do this universe that we have planned in our studio. We've got a bunch of guys that are very talented. One of the guys that's going to be helping with my campaign this summer is Paris Collins. He's going to be here next week. He's going to be on my show. We're going to talk about his contribution. He's
in the circle. I feel your vibe and energy. We're all in this together, and great comics.
That's right.
Great comics, and who doesn't want to be able to? And we need as many. Just trying to help others as we can, because we're all in it together. And it's a audience when we scatter to the winds, and we unify. Our real passionate feelings about the myths that a beautiful art form can continue to honor and get the sort of output that I've been waiting for my entire life, which is the modern day Renaissance. We're living in a modern day Renaissance, and it's short change. Are you kidding me? Da Vinci would be jealous of some of the things that Four Horsemen Studios has been sculpting, and they even have figured out how to make it articulated with 4 points of articulation. Incredible the wealth of art that we have, and I just feel like we just don't appreciate it enough, because we don't appreciate ourselves enough, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for this medium the way we do, for good reason, because we let other people shortchange it. And it's when we honor ourselves and honor our love for what this is and the worth that we see that it has, that actually doing what it's always been capable of doing, blowing people's minds, changing the world, having a real pictures and words, the most powerful things we have.
That's right. Absolutely. I think, and being a word nerd like I am, uh, it sounds kind of silly, but I love the written word. It sounds silly at first when you think about it, but it was a joke that was in house. The reason why I love personalities and humor and these jokes and these expressions that all come from writing. I love written script. I love the English language. I love words. I realized eventually, it took me a while. I'm late, but like figuring it out. But all the things that all the things that I've enjoyed over the course of my life, as far as pop culture, I noticed that when I realized this, it was profound for me that it all came from good writing. They were all things that I viewed as good writing. You know what I mean? Like when you're a kid, you see it. You see some visuals, you see some things, you just go, oh, I like that movie. I didn't like that movie. And then as you grow up, you're like, oh, well, why was this good? It was because they did a good job with this, and the lines were delivered very well because they're a great actor, and this is a great actor, and those things. And then eventually it just evolved to the point where I realized that all the things that I loved were things that were great ideas that people were passionate about. And so I want to contribute to that. I want to create my own. And I love it. It's a free expression. All the work that I'm going forward with is all stuff that I own, or it's stuff that's studio owned, but we're all independent. So the creative freedom is just amazing. That's the best part about it, is being able to just do your own thing and put yourself into that work. And so I love that. I can appreciate it. I love the tracks. I want to play one for everybody. If you want, you said you had to meet up with a friend. You said you had to meet up with a friend, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm here at my buddy's house, and we're working on our magazine and our company and all these, a lot of things going. But yeah, I would appreciate you playing some to check out
Absolutely.
the music for Blacklight District in particular. It's free at blacklightdistrict.co, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook and whatever else. Find me, or worst case, all I really care is that you listen to my music. I make music because at the end of the day, the ability to communicate properly, to feel like a normal person, and so
Oh,
I
you've
like
been
to
great.
communicate through music. Well, thank you. But
No, you've been great. No, hey everybody, make
if you
sure
want to
you
get to
guys
know like,
watch up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going
you
to give
got it,
him a
man.
shout. I was
Sorry,
going to give him.
the delay makes it a little.
Yeah, yeah. Your voice has been a little. You guys been recording lately, or you've been recording lately,
Yeah,
huh?
we're getting ready to shoot. I've got some music videos, like I'm cutting together a bunch of old footage for different things, of videos that are, I've been kind of sitting there because I've been releasing music behind the scenes for the past decade. So I've gotten a lot of music on TV and in
Hmm.
movies or commercials, but not really doing like a big push for playing out. But I've just been dying to bring all these, um, bringing music and visual art all into one place. This people can go to a club and have an art experience and leave better for it,
Yeah,
and not just
absolutely.
the typical whatever, but much more sort of a YMCA for the downtrodden, a place to go
Yeah,
where you belong and you feel comfortable, and a lot of forms and what it's going to end up becoming. And I come on and chat it again. But right now it's just been making some music, getting some things out. I'm doing a cover of You right now with some friends of mine. We might release during the COVID-19 nonsense, just as like can't
yeah,
stop music,
yeah.
man. You know,
You're gonna have to work remotely. That's right. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. You're working remotely. You're not gonna be able to do the live shows because people aren't gathering together. But it's an opportunity to keep working in the creative medium that we're doing. Um, you said you've got another release coming out in May. Everybody, he's got an album coming out. It's going to be April 3rd. So keep an
so
eye out for that. And he's up on SoundCloud now. He's got multiple
yeah, so
albums up there. We're going to play a song off of
it's
it.
four come out April 3rd, and there's already one out, which is
Oh,
Baptist. My stuff. was taken off of the internet like a couple of years ago, and only these things were released. So like 60 songs that are going to be out. Come then, my brand new album is called "Come With Me If You Want to Live," and that comes out May 1st. And that I wrote the whole thing with my friend Michael Narujo, who produced most of the record, and we did it all remotely. He's from South Africa. I'm from
Nice.
the States. I lived in Los Angeles for a lot of the recording. Record, and it's so in our hands and in our power to do whatever we have in our hearts and do it quickly. And me and my friend right now, so let's hope we do. And I hope
That's
everybody
awesome.
likes the music. So much for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely no problem. I was just gonna tell them, about the releases, but it looks like you covered all those bases, and that's amazing. I didn't know that there was 60 songs coming out. There was 4 albums. So, ladies and gentlemen, 4 albums that are coming out from Jesse Snyder, award-winning writer, producer, and he's a comic book creator, and he's, as you can see, he's a great guy. Are you gonna come back, Jesse, sometime? I'm gonna have some more work done to the stream, but definitely gonna grow this thing. I have some more guests lined up, but we want to have recurring guests. I'm gonna have some studio guys that do comics come on and promote work and talk with
Yeah,
us.
and
We've been working together for
let's plan
years. Come
for
back.
next month, and we'll set it up.
Hey, that would be great, man. We'll hit it before the May, so that way you'll have a live stream playback online, so you can refer people and people can catch the lowdown. So we'll do that. Okay.
Yeah, and then on the magazine, I could send you the stuff that we've already produced. There's a bunch of great contributors. My friend Mark Polton co-wrote a story called King of Kings with me that's going to be 13 parts in the magazine that we're putting out. Me and my buddy Steve Kurth did a great little 5-parter. And then my friend Aaron Sparrow is working on sort of an editorial cartoon, and our cover artist and art director is providing some great images for the book. So hopefully I'll have some stuff to show you next.
Oh, that's great.
Send some your way beforehand, and you can check it out. All right.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you. And thanks for sending that SoundCloud link so I can listen to that. We're going to play the song now. You're welcome to go ahead and cut out. I'm going to come back and address everybody and talk about our guests next week and everything. But you're welcome to head out, and we'll catch you next month. Okay, Jesse? Thanks for coming in, man. Okay, everybody. We are going to go ahead and play this song here. Oh, your sound cut out. You're still there. Okay, you good? Okay, he was having a little bit of audio at the end, which is okay. That's fine. We're just going to roll with it. Jesse was great. We're going to have him next month so that we can talk about his May release. But we're going to play this song from the track. We're going to leave the information about the album and where to go and the studio that did it and the name of the song. But we're going to go ahead and take a break for a second. Let's see what we got. Share screen. And we're going to do share screen right there. Got it. So that you guys can listen to this right there. Come on.
Come on. You're not a human man. You're just a piece of meat. You only good at this lying just so he can eat. You won't be so long. When I hear my song, I know this thing is the only place I belong. In the beginning of killing for a living, I'm breaking the hearts of innocent women. I'm tired of losing, I'm tired of waiting. It's not tomorrow, it's Sunday. I'm grinning. Just wait till this wall. It's just a freaking it. Turn on the others to the and I'm here to finish it. We like the biggest cage. Don't know it like without it. And when I break out, she got it. In the beginning, had the winters to win it. Just the face of a mission for sinning. But now I see what you got to take it. Bring it, not the beginning to beginning. It's what I've been doing. I'm misbehaving. I'm on the straight and narrow. Shooting through the car, cause I'm a bow and arrow. I got a full quiver. I will deliver. Knock out the whole sky with my head trigger. Just wait. While your vision is blurring, keep blowing worse than before.
All right, awesome, guys. That was fantastic. I'm so happy that we were able to have Jesse in. Jesse's awesome. I was connected with him, the guy, radio personality, mutual friend, and I wanted to say thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. You connected me with Jesse because he was great. I also wanted to say a couple of things. We've had this is my first show, so we're going to have more celebrity guests on, and we're going to have more studio guests. The artwork that you saw in the montage while we were listening to Jesse's music is from our studio, Cornerstone Crave Studios. We've got a showcase book. This is my personal 8-decade legacy book that we made from preview pages, but we've got a full version from the studio from Jesse Hansen and company at Cornerstone Crave Studios. It's fantastic artwork, like the artwork that you saw in that montage. That's all our studio stuff that I showed you. That's all original work. It's untouched and it's copyrighted, and the scripts are done, and we are ready to go. And we're going to start doing crowdfunding. I wanted to mention that next week we are going to have a special guest. We are going to have Paris Collins is going to be with us, and I'm going to find the banner here and make sure I get that up. Let's see, this is Jesse Blaze. This is, yes, there it is. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. But as you see across the bottom of the screen, Paris Collins, the creator of Blue Devil from DC Comics, 35-year professional artist. He's worked for DC, but in addition, he's also worked for Nintendo. He worked for Capcom. He worked for Games Workshop. He worked for Hanna-Barbera. He worked for Archie Comics. He's worked for everybody, and he says that that's his catchline. I've worked for everybody, and so Very talented man, a kind man. If you've met him at a convention, anybody that knows Paris Collins knows that he is a walking keg of dynamite. Like, this guy is has the personality, and you know, he's old school. Like, when he applied to DC and these places, you would do artwork and mail it off and wait for the phone call. You know, and so when you get that opportunity to make that handshake in person, you have to be personable, and he's got it. You know, he's got the magic. He's very good, and so that's it's a thing to witness. You guys are going to have a lot of fun tuning in next week to see that. Paris also, I'm very excited to say today, has decided to contribute to my Indiegogo campaign that I'm planning for July. We're looking to go live with Hayward Saints 8. And so I'd like to show you a little bit about the artwork on that really fast, if I can. We showed it in the montage here, but this is another project folder. But Hayward Saints 8 is my own personal creation here, with characters like Ultra Ghost, that we have. Let's see. Yeah, Ultra Ghost here, the front as the lead, Awesome Angel, Intergalactic Knight, and the Infallible Mammoth Monk, and the rest of the crew. This is going to be a great story. It's basically a pre-post-apocalyptic story where guardian angels recruit the greatest heroes of a future time period and send them back in time for a redo to prevent the apocalypse after a failed attempt. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hayward Saints 8 picks them up. Or Hayward Saint picks them up for the Federal Offensive Responders Unit and enlists them and gives them jobs. So it's going to be a fun story. It's a character-driven story, and it's also an adaptation of my novel that I wrote in 2012. And so I've got a copy of that right here, 300-page novel. You can see the Awesome Angel here on the front. And so we were able to do an adaptation at the studio. So I'm excited as a writer. I also do 2 other titles for the studio, and I have another title that I own, Meteor Marley and the Astronerds, which is going to be a lot of fun as well. I love to create. I love to write. You know, I'm the inexorable word nerd. That's me. I'm always awkward. I'm always awkward, but I'm always creative, and I'm me. So I'm a rock star on keyboards. I don't know if I'm a rock star like Jesse, but I'm a rock star when it comes to being an introvert in my workstation with a keyboard. So that, I think that counts for something. I also want to tell you guys to go to Indiegogo and back Cyberfrog Wreck Planet. Cyberfrog Wreck Planet is a beautiful looking book from Ethan Van Sciver, who is a 20-year DC veteran. He worked on Green Lantern while he was over there, and has done many other titles. Fantastic artwork. Beautiful campaign, and customers don't lie. You know, they the first book was a smashing success. It was the highest funded comic book of all time on crowdfund, and now the sequel is on track to do the same, to match it. Sitting out $430,000 for a comic book, and so the recurring customers, people are coming back. People want to read Cyberfrog, so make sure you go back that. And so I just want to sign off. We're going to do the episode next week. Hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We on my social media, I'm at Ryan Tyler Palmer. I am Ryan WordNerd Palmer, and so you can find me on Twitter. And we're going to go ahead and advertise ahead of time once I go ahead and nail down the time with Paris. But he's going to be here, and he's going to be in your face. You're going to love it. Oh, when I mentioned the work, Paris today, I'm excited. Paris mentioned that he's going to be contributing to my crowdfund, and we're going to have a special perk reward when we hit goal that all backers are going to receive an ash can from our studio. Paris is going to do 3 pages of sequentials, and it's going to be unhindered Paris Collins. Like, I'm not going to put any creative restraints on him whatsoever. I'm going to let him read the script for the comic, and then whatever that inspires from him, he's going to do 3 pages with the characters and just do something fun with it, something amazing. It might be funny, it might be exciting, it might be riveting. We don't know what we're going to get from Paris. He's a wild animal when it comes to creativity. So so make sure you come back to check him out next week. He's also going to be doing the cover for that ash can, and I'm really excited about that. I haven't released it yet, but we're going to have something very special for the backers, for people who are fans of 80s IP, like I was, where I was an 80s child. And Paris did a lot of his work at the beginning of his career in the 80s. And so it's going to be a very cool theme to the ash can. We've got Carlos Villas, who is a professional renderer, who's going to be doing the cover. He's a member of our studio. And he also, his professional credits include album covers, video game renderings, and covers and posters for them, images. But the big thing was recently he was a colorist on the Iron Maiden series for Heavy Metal Magazine, and his work is phenomenal. I'm so excited to have him on the project. So we're gonna have that for a cover. Keep an eye out for that. We're going to start announcing it on my Twitter when we're well before we go live with it. So follow me on Twitter at Ryan Tyler Palmer, and also hit subscribe below so that you can catch all our live episodes. We're gonna have some great guests in, and this channel is going to be exciting. So we'll catch you then. Bye.